Bulunaka, do you know that cybercrime is becoming a growing problem in Fiji?
Cybercrime is defined as a crime in which a computer is the object of the crime, such as hacking and spamming.
Cybercrime is also cyberbullying and using fake profiles to cause panic and spreading false news.
If you're involved in this or know anyone who's committing these crimes, report them immediately.
I'm Polly.
And I'm Peter.
We host the Traffic Jam Show on City FM.
From 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. every weekday.
Do the right thing.
And I'm Naka Fiji. In this bulletin, TC Tino develops overnight. Gaming disorder a concern. And allowance delays faced by TSLB.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Edwin Nunn.
Tropical Depression 04F has intensified into a Category 1 tropical cyclone as at 3 a.m. today and has been named TC Tino. The Fiji Meteorological Service says TC Tino was located about 100 kilometers south of Rotuma or about 420 kilometers northwest of Lambasa at 3 a.m. The cyclone is expected to have average winds of up to 75 kilometers per hour with momentary gusts to 100 kilometers per hour. Tino is moving south-southeast at about 20 kilometers per hour. On this forecast track, the cyclone center is expected to be located about 40 kilometers north of Lambasa or 210 kilometers northwest of Vanuatu at 3 p.m. today, at about and about 70 kilometers southeast of Lakemba or 2,150 kilometers north of Onoilau at 3 a.m. tomorrow. A tropical cyclone warning remains in force for Rotuma, Vikombia, Vanuatu, Taveuni and nearby smaller islands, the eastern half of Viti Levu, Yasawa, Lau and Lomai Viti group. A gale warning remains in force for the above-mentioned areas as well. A tropical cyclone alert remains in force for the rest of the Fiji group. A storm warning remains in force for Lakemba and Didhia as well as Tuvuda. A strong wind warning remains in force for the rest of the Fiji group. A heavy rain warning remains in force for the Fiji group as well. Movement on the Queen's Highway has been restricted. Overnight, the National Disaster Management Office instructed the restriction of movement after a landslide near Korovislo in Serua, which cut off traffic on the main access highway between Suva and the Western Division. In addition, there was significant flooding, which inundated the Ngaloa Flats, cutting off many motorists who were left stranded and at the mercy of the heavy rainfall. NDMO Director Vasiti Soko noted that emergency teams were out to assess and assist with the deluge.
We are restricting movements along the Queen's Highway. Those who wish to travel to the Queen's Highway to refrain from doing so. This is for those traveling to the west and those traveling to Suva. If you are traveling from Suva to Pacific Harbour as we speak, we ask that you return to Suva and wait for the water to recede.
The director also confirms that a decision on whether the civil service will move to emergency staffing will be made later today.
For civil service, upon the consultation with the Permanent Secretary for Civil Service, the Permanent Secretary for each ministries will have to make their own decision whether they operate as normal or with skeleton staff depending on the weather that we are currently facing.
The director of the Fiji Meteorological Office, Misaile Funaki, says while the incoming cyclone is categorized as a Category 1 system, it has the potential to intensify into a Category 2. With the cyclone expected to pass over Vanuatu today and directly affect the Northern Division, Funaki is advising the public to adhere to the warnings issued by the relevant agencies. The Ministry of Education has instructed schools in the north to be closed, while schools in other divisions have been instructed to remain open for now.
For the members of the public to be aware of the system that is expected to move on to the group, especially for those in Vanuatu, and also to listen in to the warnings and the alerts that's being provided by the Weather Office and the Disaster Management Office, and also to take all necessary precautions as we anticipate and as we await the arrival of it.
On to other news, the Fiji Revenue and Customs Service last night held a forum with over 60 employers from the Central Division to address issues regarding the online taxpayer system. Chief Executive Vishwanath Das is urging businesses to fully utilize the new system, which was rolled out last month for registration, to file tax and possibly make online payments. Das adds, despite the adoption of this accessible and efficient service, more awareness is needed to transform the approach of taxpayers from the physical to the digital mode.
It's just a roadshow that we have taken on to, and later next week we're actually going to other town centers as well, and holding forums. Again, we had already done some awareness, but I guess there's need for more, and as we always say, awareness is never enough.
The Tertiary Scholarship Loans Board has the ability to process all allowances for students on time, says Chief Executive Bobby Maharaj. Maharaj says the payments are only delayed when students enroll late at their respective universities or they don't provide the enrollment reports to the TSLB on time. Maharaj says the allowance payments are purely subject to these two requirements. Students have often complained about the delay in allowance payments in the past. The Chief Executive says their aim is to pay at least 50% before lectures begin.
So the delays mostly are nothing to do with TSLB not having the capacity to process the allowances. I've said if all the students enroll on time and if you receive the enrollment reports on time from the universities, we'll definitely be able to process all allowances at least by Friday, Monday before the lecture starts.
Accident Compensation Commission of Fiji Board Chair Arif Ali has slammed social media critics, falsely stating there is not enough funds to pay compensation. Speaking to the Standing Committee on Economic Affairs, Ali stressed these rumors are not true. With queries of unpaid claims, Ali says people have to understand that there is a process that needs to be followed before any payment is made.
Once permanent disability is confirmed by the health specialist, then payment is made. So there's this window that people need to understand, that they need to wait so that they are paid the appropriate amount.
Ali says there's around $21 million in a trust fund that only caters for compensation payments, and the ACCF has paid out about $7.5 million to date. Internet gaming disorder is contributing to the rise in mental health issues, and psychologists have stated that it's causing depression among some. With the easy access to smartphones, hundreds of Fijians are at risk of becoming gaming addicts. The growth in virtual gaming in Fiji has many youth hooked, with working adults becoming less productive.
I've even had, young people, depressive mode. They're so that depression sets in. It's like they don't want to talk to anyone. It's virtually, they want to see what's happening in the game and everything else. For them, the virtual reality becomes their normal reality than anything else.
Obviously, we are seeing a rise in what we call internet gaming disorder, or excessive problematic use of gaming. But we're seeing that linked to the more general rise in the social issues that young people are facing. So there is a link between lower self-esteem and higher rates of depression.
Coming up, Fiji 15's coach to be announced soon. And outrigger canoeing coming to Nosori.
Oira na ngone no de nunu ena besinga ni mataka.
Mersi sunga da kena loma dina kena mikron.
Sakena ngau na mitaro bina no na baksa ka wala loma takina ngone. Dalabina oya o meliki.
Bulre oya o Samuel Samuli.
Nama kikira ena be mataka.
Oni tikina makarombuka.
Ni wai tiri kalima na miniti me ona kina tiri na kaloko. Ena Radio Fiji 1 na ndomo ibiti.
Inda kina na mataka. Dan ramai na singabo.
Welcome back. The Fiji Sports Commission had a meeting with the Fiji Rugby Union last week regarding the new Flying Fijians coach. This has been confirmed by Sports Commission Chair Peter Maisy. Maisy says the FRU is in the final phases of selecting a National 15s coach.
I had meetings with the chairman of Fiji Rugby just last week, and they had to go back and speak to those and come up with a contract, basically. So I understand that's being done as we speak. I think they were actually selected in 2 or 3 in case one isn't available. So, yeah.
Former World Rugby Sevens Player of the Year Cecil Africa and Werner Kok will return for the Springbok Sevens in Hamilton and Sydney. Also back for South Africa is playmaker Branko Dupree. Springbok Sevens coach Neil Powell made 7 changes to the squad that won the Dubai Sevens and were losing finalists at the Cape Town Sevens late last year. Stedman Gans will captain the Springbok Sevens to Hamilton and Sydney, taking over the captaincy armband from the injured Siviwe Soizwapi. Outrigger canoeing is a sport being revived in the country with assistance from the Fiji Sports Commission. The Commission bought a canoe from the Kaiwai Club, which is now being used by youth from Moana village in Rewa. Former national paddler Moala Tokota'a says getting rugby players into canoeing during their off-season can actually benefit both the sport and those involved. The Fiji Sports Commission will have paddling tournaments at the Rewa River this year.
It's, it'll benefit the sport too, and it'll be a win-win situation with the players and the sport itself. And I think that will be a great idea for the sport itself.
This is like a plan that Commission and other stakeholders in Osori are looking forward to, for all our youth in Osori to get into paddling. We are in March we are planning to have community race in the Rewa River. It's never been done before.
Kiwi sporting stars of the past and present have descended on Hawke's Bay in New Zealand for the annual Backlash T20 match tomorrow. Stephen Fleming's team cricket out for payback after an embarrassing loss to Team Rugby last year. The Fiji group will experience rain and thunderstorms today as a result of TC Tino. And that's your FBC Morning News. Remember to join us at 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. for our major bulletin for these stories and others. You can also tune in daily to our sister radio station, Gold FM. That's it from me for now. Have a good morning.
हमारे खूबसूरत देश फिजी में चाइल्ड अब्यूज की घटनाएं आए दिन बढ़ रही हैं।
क्यों बच्चों का मासूम बचपन अब्यूज का शिकार हो जाता है?
अपने बच्चों की सुरक्षा का खास ख्याल रखें।
उनसे बातचीत करें, उनके दोस्तों के बारे में जानें।
आज के बच्चे देश का भविष्य है। मैं दीप्ति
और मैं मोनिश,
आपके हमसफर। शामिल हो जाए हमारे साथ मंडे टू फ्राइडे
5:45 AM से 10 AM तक
रेडियो फिजी 2 देश की धड़कन पर।